Today, we are diving deep into one of the most incredible molecules in the universe, DNA. But we're not just going to talk about it the way you learned in biology class. We're going to look at it as a piece of technology, one with a wild history, a super important present, and a future that honestly sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
So let me kick this off with a question, just to get you thinking. What if every movie, every song, every website, literally all of the digital data that humanity has ever created could fit inside a regular shoebox? I mean, that sounds completely impossible, right?
Well, guess what? It's not. And the key to this mind-blowing future isn't some new computer chip. It's the very same molecule that makes you, well, you. The answer is hidden in DNA.
Now, to really get how that's even possible, we need to go back to basics. We have to start with what DNA does best, being the ultimate instruction manual for every living thing we know of. So, what is this stuff really? Well, its full name is deoxyribonucleic acid, which is why we all just call it DNA. The best way to picture it is as two super long chains twisted around each other into that famous double helix shape. And packed inside that spiral staircase are all the instructions needed to build and operate pretty much every living thing on our planet.
And you know what's wild? It's made of really simple parts. Each link in the chain just has three things: a sugar, a phosphate, and a base. And get this, the entire ridiculously complex instruction manual for all of life is written with an alphabet of just 4 letters: A, G, C, and T. That's it. A 4-letter alphabet that writes the most epic story ever told.
But, DNA doesn't work alone. It's got a super important partner in crime called RNA. And if DNA is the master blueprint locked away safely in the main office, you can think of RNA as the busy messenger who takes copies of those plans out to the construction site to get the work done.
This chart here just lays out their different jobs so perfectly. For example, just look at the structure. DNA is that stable, famous double helix, while RNA is usually just a single, more flexible strand. And check out the bases. They're almost the same, but RNA swaps out thymine for something called uracil. These little differences are actually huge, and they're why DNA is the permanent archive and RNA is the temporary worker bee.
So, let's just boil it down to what really matters. DNA is built for the long haul. It's a stable, two-stranded molecule made for permanent storage. RNA, on the other hand, is a single-stranded molecule built for action, for getting things done right now. And of course, there's that base swap: thymine for DNA, uracil for RNA. Those differences are everything.
Now, for life to actually continue, that instruction manual doesn't just need to be read, it has to be copied perfectly, billions and billions of times. And that brings us to the absolutely amazing process of DNA replication.
And you really can't overstate how important this is. This quote says it all. Replication is the very foundation of growth, development, and passing our genes on. Honestly, without this incredibly precise copying machine, life as we know it would just stop. And the process itself is like watching a tiny biological factory at work. It's incredible. First, an enzyme called helicase comes in and literally unzips the double helix. Then, another one, called primase, lays down a starting block. After that, the star of the show, DNA polymerase, zips along each strand, building a brand new matching half. And finally, DNA ligase comes in and acts like a molecular glue to seal up any gaps. It's a 4-step assembly line that runs with breathtaking speed and precision.
Okay, so we've got the blueprints, and we know how it's copied. Now let's switch gears and talk about how our ability to read that blueprint has completely changed the world. We'll start with how it became one of the most powerful detective tools ever invented.
The progress in this field has been nothing short of explosive. I mean, think about it. Back in the 80s, you needed a pretty big, well-preserved sample to get a result. By the 90s, thanks to a tech called PCR, we could work with tiny, microscopic amounts. And today we have rapid DNA tech where you can literally go from a simple cheek swab to a full genetic profile in about an hour and a half. It has completely revolutionized forensics.
And that brings us full circle, right back to our crazy question at the beginning. We've gotten amazing at reading DNA. We're getting better and better at copying it. So what's the next frontier? Well, it's writing it. This is where DNA stops being just the blueprint for life and becomes the hard drive of tomorrow.
Here's the massive problem that we're facing as a species. It's called the data explosion. Every single day, we create an unimaginable amount of digital information. In our current technology, our hard drives, our flash drives, they just can't keep up. We are, quite literally, running out of places to put all our data.
And this chart, wow. This chart says it all. Just look at the bars for hard drives, flash memory, and magnetic tape. Now, look at the one for DNA. It's not just a little bit better. It's not even in the same league. It's a total game changer. The storage density is almost hard to believe.
Let's just put a number on that to really let it sink in. Compared to magnetic tape, which is our best long-term storage medium right now, DNA has the potential to be 10 million times more dense. That's not a typo. 10 million times. That's how you fit the entire internet in a shoebox.
And it isn't just about cramming more stuff into a smaller space. This pyramid shows the whole picture. Stuff at the top, like flash, is fast, but it doesn't hold much, and it doesn't last forever. DNA is down at the bottom. Sure, it's slower to access, but it offers almost unlimited capacity, and it can last for thousands of years. It is the ultimate archive.
So why do this? Well, the reasons are just incredible. The density is insane. The durability is off the charts. It takes almost no energy to store once the data is written. But my favorite reason, the one that gives me chills, is that last one. It's future-proof. We will never lose the ability to read DNA because it's the language of life itself. No more worrying about old file formats or broken hard drives.
So how does this all work in practice? Well, the basic idea is actually pretty straightforward. You're essentially a translator. You take digital data, all those ones and zeros, and you translate it into the biological code of A, T, C, and G. Then you use a machine to actually synthesize those DNA molecules. You can store them in a tiny tube for centuries, and whenever you need the data back, you just use a DNA sequencer to read the code and translate it back to the original file.
So there you have it. We've gone from a simple molecule to the very basis of life, to a crime-fighting tool, and now to the potential solution for our global data crisis. It is, without a doubt, the code of our biological past, and unbelievably, it's also the hard drive of our digital future. Which really just leaves us with one last, huge question. What will we choose to write next?